everyone. This is Brittnee Bond, and welcome back to the podcast. Ooh, okay, I have some juicy stories for you. I have been busy experiencing life and not so much recording about it, but I'm inspired to start making podcasts again. And this one is going to be about some dating experiences that I've had, and also just my journey on experiencing romance with a lot of sensuality first instead of going straight into sexuality. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like in today's world, it's very masculine dominated energy. And with that comes this, we also have this program through porn. It's like, when are we going to have sex? Like, immediately when you start dating someone, there's this tension and there's this kind of unspoken, I don't want to say expectation, but just, I'm like thrusting. I'm like, like there's this energy that is building. Yeah. So this tension that's building, and usually it comes to a quote unquote climax in the question, not so much in the actual having sex, but I'm talking about like in the question of like whether we are going to have sex or not. And I really think that this is a fallacy in our reasoning mind. And this is directly conditioned by how society has programmed us through porn. Because in my mind these days, the question is not, are we going to have sex? The question is this someone that I want to connect with deeper? Is this someone that I want to, enjoy a deeper emotional connection, sensual connection, life connection? And it's less for me. Yes, I am open to having my life partner walk into my life, like the man that I will commit to for my life. And I'm very grateful for this person. I can feel that he's out there, and I can feel that he is coming into my vortex soon. And in order for me to create space for him, I have to really ask myself, is this person in front of me that, I'm on a date with, are they matching what I'm actually asking for in a life partner? Instead of trying to make them fit into what I want, it's just like, this is what I want. Do they match it? And if they don't, then we could just be friends, So because I have this thing of like really falling for people really fast and very quickly, and really, but basically what that actually means, if we're being real, is that I'm projecting onto them what I want them to be in a dynamic. So like I hope and I want them to become this person that I can see them becoming if they, they release their negative beliefs, they grow in their emotional intelligence, and, they step into their full power. But you can't date full potential. It's not good for anyone. So I'm reminding myself right now. But, so I am open to my life partner. I am very receptive. I'm very excited about him coming into my life. You're like, hello, if you're listening to this, you can send me a message. And also, there's so many beautiful men coming into my vortex right now, and I'm not necessarily closed off to them being in my life. It's just more about like in what way is the connection the most beneficial and healthy and, amplifying both of our lives? Like, in what way can this uplift both of us? Like, and when I think about like having sex with a man, I really view this as a very serious matter these days, because, I've only had like one night stand in my life, and I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel good. But other than that, like all of the men that I have connected with in a sexual way, they have been men who were in my life and like committed to showing up in my life in some way. So this can be like lovers. This can be like we're friends who show up for each other. We're on similar life paths, but we're not ready for a full commitment. Or we just know we're not each other's life partner, but we just love each other. And, us sleeping together is just one more extension of this love that we're showing each other on the daily. I just wanted to turn the air on. It's very hot here these days, guys. I know that where a lot of you are, it is cold. But I'm just telling you, it's really hot. I'm not complaining. I'm grateful. I do not want to be in 0 degrees weather. No, thank you. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that they have proven with their words, but mostly their actions, that these men have shown up for me consistently. And, they're supporting my life, they're cheerleading my life, they're making my life better in some way by like physically coming into my life and just like helping me take care of things. And this is something that I feel is so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for them, and I really appreciate them, and I give back my energy to them in many different ways. So, because some of you have asked me, like, like, just straight up, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I haven't had sex since last September. So yes, I have been in many close situations where I almost did. But I just was like, this is not a fuck yes, like this person is either, they're not adding to my life energetically in a way that makes it so that the energy exchange of sex is worth it. Because like, hold on, I wrote some notes because I really want to get. Yeah, so when you're having sex with someone, you're mixing your energy, and I don't think people really understand this. That like from an energetic standpoint, when you make love with someone, you are like, like you're tied to them in some way, or there is a very strong energy exchange. And the question you have to ask yourself is like, is this energy exchange worth it? Because for me in the past, I was like basically taking on energetically other people's trash and like processing it for them. And a lot of women, we do this because we have this, and like basically we're receiving a lot of energy in our bodies. But also men, like we give and receive energetically when we make love. And the question you have to ask yourself is like, is this energy exchange a positive thing in my life? Do I feel better after I make love with this person? Do I feel like I have more energy? Am I more excited about my life because this person is in my life? And a lot of people are so focused on this like short-term gratification, whether it's like physical pleasure or feeling validated, feeling like, oh, they must really like me. And so you're kind of like filling up on your own self-worth that you should be giving yourself. It's called self-worth. But they're externally, looking for this. And when you're trying to validate externally on something that should be fulfilled internally, you're always going to come up short. And you're always going to feel that you're in scarcity mindset. Instead of pulling back, doing the work, the self-work, to come to self-love and come to this feeling of, I am good enough on my own. I deserve to be treated, like the goddess, or, like the beautiful man that I am, like whoever it is. But a lot of times we don't pause to really ask ourselves, like, am I valuing myself right now? Or am I, is there like a part of me that is looking and seeking validation through this other person's love, attention, care? Because if you're not whole as you are on your own, you're never going to feel whole with the other person. It might temporarily feel that way, but then you're going to go back eventually to the scarcity mindset because it only can be filled by yourself. Okay, this is a lot of stuff, but what I wanted to tell you is that I went on a date with the Bachelor of Switzerland. I just find this really funny because I don't know. I just find like my life to be funny. Like I'm like, what is my life? But I there's some things I want to explain about this story that I learned about myself. So, first off, we matched on Bumble. I didn't know that he was the Bachelor of Switzerland. I also don't really check my dating apps very often. I don't have notifications on them. One, because I just get way too many like ding, 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 ding. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm not stuck up. I'm just like, I want to be able just to go in there and look at it when I want to and like focus on my life. And also sometimes I'm like, am I really going to find the love of my life on a dating app? I don't know. Like, I feel like you can, but also I'm like, I don't know. I found a lot of really great friends on dating apps, like people, men and women, who have turned into really strong friendships. But anyways, so I went on there and it was expired, our match, because on Bumble the woman has to respond first. And then I looked at his profile again. I was like, oh, I missed this match. And then I looked again. I was like, oh wow, he's very attractive. And maybe I actually wanted to like talk to him, So he had his Instagram on there, and I went on his Instagram, and this is when I found out he was the Bachelor of Switzerland, like on the last season that just aired in Switzerland. Apparently they filmed it in Samui, which is really funny, like the island next to me. But anyways, I don't know if you're aware, but I'm in the middle of making a pilot for a TV show. And so for me, this was like a ding, ding, ding. Like, I want to talk to this person more from, like, yes, he's very attractive. But I want to talk to him more from a business perspective. I know that really sounds funny. So anyways, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, we matched on Bumble, but I forgot to respond or whatever. And but I saw you're the Bachelor, and I wanted to talk to you about some stuff around this because I'm actually making a pilot for a TV show here on the island. And he was like, oh, yeah, amazing. I would love to hang out with you. I think the way that I went about it, I think he was confused on whether I was interested in him romantically or not. And honestly, I was confused on whether I was interested in him romantically or not because I was just more excited to talk to him about the TV show. So anyways, we messaged a couple times, and I was really busy this happened end of last week. I was really busy last week, and I also wasn't feeling well. I'm going to go into that in a minute of like what was going on with me emotionally that was making it show up for me. I really believe that everything that happens to me physically is actually psychosomatic, which means like there is an emotional reason why I'm suddenly not feeling well physically. And I think that's actually most of us. As we start getting more in tune with ourselves spiritually, I think we're all going to start understanding that the body keeps the score, as that book says, and it's very true. But anyway, so I wasn't feeling well. My brain was a little bit spacey. I was at what we call the 20 baht shop, which is like kind of like an odds and ends shop. It's kind of like in the States, we call it the Dollar Tree. I don't know if in Europe, you guys, if you're in Europe, if you have one of these, but it's kind of just like a random thing. So I was getting stuff for the play party that was happening last weekend. And I realized that I'd accidentally left my laptop in my scooter with it unlocked, like down the way at the 7-Eleven. And I was like, oh no. And I was like paying at the store. And then I go and jump on my bike and I get home. My laptop was in my bike and everything was okay. And then when I get home, I realized I forgot my phone at the 20 baht shop. Like this little, it's a mini mart, basically, like a little marketplace. And I was like, fuck, I never do this. I'm never this scatterbrained, but this is because I wasn't feeling well. Like I felt like really cloudy in my head all last week. Anyway, so he's messaging me and I like check it on my laptop because I knew we were going to meet up. And then I said to him like, you can come over to my house. And also, by the way, can you stop on your way and like pick up my phone? Because I just forgot it at this mini mart. And he was like, yeah, for sure. So it's just funny because we hadn't met in real life yet. And I'm like entrusting him with my phone, which has like so much on it that is important to me. But I felt like I felt like I could trust him. And anyway, so he comes over, and it was just funny because when he walked in, I was like, nice to meet you. And also like, I was also like kind of in this panic mode. Like, so I was just like, do you have my phone? Because I just need to make sure that it's okay. And then I can relax. And he was like, oh no, I actually went in there and they told me like a Thai guy had just taken it right before I got there. And I just immediately turned around and started running up the stairs to my bedroom because I like to hear, because I have find my iPhone on my laptop and I was about to like run and see where my phone was. And he was like, oh, no, I'm just joking. Like, I have it here. I'm just joking. And I was like, that is not funny, dude. And he's like, I know. I'm like, I've always been one for good first impressions. And we were just laughing about it. But, and then we hung out and like cuddled on my daybed by my pool. And I was just asking him a ton of questions about, him being on the TV show and what it was like and like behind the scenes and, what was real, what wasn't real. Is he, because he has to pick a girl at the end, right? And I was like, are you guys still together? And he was like, no. It was just interesting. And then I just realized like halfway through, I said to him, I was like, wait, I don't want you to think I just had you here just for like, to pick your, like, basically I didn't want him to think that I was using him for his information. I was like, I think you're a really nice person. He's a Cancer on the astrology. And, I was like, I think you're obviously beautiful and a nice person. And I'm just really excited about what my project I'm working on. And he was like, yeah, no worries. I'm actually interested to talk to you about your play parties and stuff. So he asked me about the play parties. And then I had another meeting after that. So I had to go and then he had to go. And anyways, it wasn't a very long, like, I don't know if you even call it a date, but it was a hangout. We were cuddling. I guess you could call it a date. But we both like enjoyed it. We both said we wanted to see each other again. He was really interested in the play party, and I was like, it is very full. Like, I don't know if I can fit you in. And anyways, so this is the thing I wanted to say about this was I felt two things after he left. One, I felt really excited to see him again. And two, I felt like maybe I was projecting onto him that he was, this is going to sound funny. Oh my God. Dennis, if you listen to this, please take this lightly. I mean, I sent him a voice message telling him this, but I'm going to explain it in a more direct way right now. But anyway, so what I realized was that I felt like I was kind of putting him on a pedestal because he's famous. Like, almost like I was giving him, like, I wasn't seeing the real version of him. I was just kind of like, he's the Bachelor of Switzerland and he's very hot. He's very hot. And I was just like, you know, being a little superficial. And also, you know, I was kind of like, I didn't feel like I was using him because he was excited to tell me about this stuff, but I felt like I didn't take the time and space. Like, I was really leading on the conversation because I was super excited. And also, I don't normally do that on dates. I usually like to, you know, be more my feminine and just kind of be flowy with whatever's happening. But I just felt like I wasn't giving it the space to, you know, there's been many moments in my life where people know who I am in the community. They know what I've done, you know, online. They just know who I am, like, as this character of, like, reality, whatever, or, you know, this leader in the community. And they project onto me and kind of just forget that I'm a human as well, you know, and I have bad days. And yes, I have accomplished a lot in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. This is just the beginning of my blast off, you know, like, acceleration mode. That is the beautiful game of life that I'm playing. But there has been some sadness over the years, especially when my ex and I got together, because I was suddenly thrown into the limelight of social media online, and I felt like people really just were being really hateful, and also, but also in the same time wanting to, like, reach out to me and, like, kind of use me just because of who I was in the community, or just as a social media presence. I don't know. And I have never really done that to other people. Like, I have a lot of friends who are famous, and I don't really talk about it because I don't care. Like, someone told me it's because I have descendant in Leo, and so, like, in my most recent past life, I was famous, and so I just don't really care about this stuff. And so, yeah, this was an interesting experience for me because I recognized that I didn't know him enough to even gather whether I liked him or not, but I was creating the story in my head that I really wanted him to pick me. This is, like, really vulnerable for me to share. But it was super interesting because this is not normal for me. Like, I have, like, this is going to sound so stuck up when I say this, but there was just an unlimited amount of men coming into my vortex that want to hang out with me and spend time with me. So, I feel a very strong abundance when it comes to men in my life, and, like, men I'm actually attracted to, you know? And also, at the same time, I have a lot of self-worth. So I don't really need, I think this is the ironic thing. So I was trying to say earlier is that if you're trying to connect with someone out of scarcity, you're always going to be feeling like it's not enough. But for me, I have taken the time over the last couple of years to really build up my own self-worth. I would say in the last 5 years, I've really dedicated this. Like, the last, like, 3 relationships I've had, I've just really honored what I needed and did the best I could for who I was and really loved myself. And when you are entering into a connection with someone romantically out of that energy of self-love and abundance, it's easier to see the person for who they are and not really care, like, whether they're famous or whether they're rich or whether whatever. It's just like, but I want to see you for who you are, and I want to honor that and, like, fall in love with the real you, you know, the person that is vulnerable and has feelings just like everyone else, you know, and hopes and dreams, and, you know, be on the same team of, like, the authentic version of us. Because something that I think maybe a lot of you don't realize is that when you are choosing to put yourself out in the limelight, like I am, like I'm like making a podcast sharing about like very intimate details about my life, you know, there is this version of me that, like, I would say that this is me being my authentic self. And I would also say that the day-to-day version of me is human and chooses to be with people who can honor my human self, that I'm not like perfect all the time, and that, you know, like I have my own ups and downs, and that's okay, you know, and they can hold space for that and honor that and like show up for me as that, as like, you know what I mean? So anyways, this was a really interesting process. I actually talked to my therapist about it this week because it was just so confusing for me. Like I hadn't really not ever, but I hadn't experienced this recently in the last 5 years, like since I've really focused on my own self-love. And anyway, so I ended up sending him, he told me the last thing that happened with Dennis was like, he told me like, I'm going to check in with my brother about the play party, and I'll get back to you ASAP, like if we can make it. Cause I was like, I don't think I have space, but I can maybe try and make some space. And there was also a part of me that was like, you know, do I want him in the play party or do I want him for myself? You know, because there is this thing of like, I am leading this very strong community of sexual exploration and liberation, and I think that's beautiful. And also in a partner right now, I'm actually looking for someone where we are so excited about each other that we want to be monogamous for the first while at least. So like, and I recognize in the last partnership that I had that we were in an open relationship very publicly, and so both of us just got a lot of attention from the outside where people wanted to get with us. And I would really just like to create a safe bubble around me and my partner the next time, because that was a lot to go through. And I don't think that's actually how you create a stable foundation for a lasting relationship. Anyways, so I sent him a message and I sent him a voice message and I said like, look, I just wanted to say that I feel like I didn't take the time to get to know you like as a human, because I was excited about this TV show idea. And I think you're a great person from what I understand, like from the vibe I got from you. And I would, whether you come to the play party or not, I just wanted to put it out there that like human to human, I would like to get to know you more if you're up for that. And I just know what it's like for people to, you know, want to get to know me for what I can offer them or for who I am in the community. And I just don't want to be one of those people that is doing that to you. You know, I just want you to know that I see you, and I want to get to know like the real version of you outside of whatever you are on TV. And he sent me back a really long voice message and was just like, wow, that really means a lot. Thank you. And I also really enjoyed talking to you. And I had fun talking about the TV show stuff. And I also wanted to, you know, hear about you and your play party and also like how you got there. And so it's like, he's like, I feel like we just exchanged what was interesting for us at that moment, but also I would be down to hang out more. And then they didn't end up coming to the play party, which I think was a good thing in the end. And what's interesting, so he had to leave I think he left the island already, but he's planning to like live here in the winters now. So, he was just like, I'm definitely gonna look you up when I come back. And I was just like, cool, like who knows where I'm gonna be and where he's gonna be. But for me, I feel like the universal lesson I was like getting downloaded from the universal lesson from the universe, whatever, is that it doesn't matter like how famous someone is. It doesn't matter what they can do on the outside. It's like taking the time to get to know who they are on the inside. And this is what I would ask everyone to do of me, you know, like, yes, there's this online presence that I am showing, but there's also like the everyday, you know, Brittnee that is here on the island and that, you know, has her own group of friends, and a lot of them are not on social media. And like, you know, we have our crew here that we all hang out every day and celebrate each other, and they're all like, yeah, Brittnee's gonna be famous, we know it, and she's gonna have her TV show, and like they just want to support me from the back end, you know, and not really be on it on social media, and that's totally fine. And I love that, and I love that I have friends that see me for the real me, and I choose that I do that for whoever I'm interested in romantically. So that's my story with The Bachelor of Switzerland. Yes, he's a really great guy. You know what's interesting? I actually felt like he was nervous when we were hanging out. Like he was just really sweet. I guess I'll just put it that way. Anyways, there's other things I wanted to share. I'm committed to making more podcasts. I feel like I haven't been in like great of a routine with it. But I'm going to start making them 3 times a week. This is what I've decided. So let's see how that goes. I'm just looking at my notes here. So I had a play party this last weekend. It was amazing. It was also a lot more people than I expected. And we're going to limit the numbers more so in the future. So if you are interested to come, the next one's on February 22nd on Saturday. And I highly encourage you to reach out on Instagram. I have the form for the application. But a story that I want to share about this last one was, so my friends have this joke that like the guys that I'm attracted to are like what they jokingly call street fighters. So do you know there's a video game, I think from the 80s or early 90s, and it's actually like street fighters, like, you know, like it's like when we would go into the video game store and you would actually put quarters in. In the States, we would put quarters in, and then you would play this game, and all of the guys on there are like really tall and like kind of just look like street smart, and like some of them have tattoos, some of them have like a little bandana around their head, and it's always just like kind of just these sexy big men that look like they could beat you up, or, you know, protect you, and that's kind of my type. Most of my past partners have been into martial arts and are just very tall. Even Ferdy he was into martial arts when he was a kid, but I wouldn't really class him. Scratch that. I might cut this part. But anyways, I don't want to talk about him. What I want to say is that at the play party, I traditionally do not play, like engage. So there's a lot of people there. There's at least 60 people at every play party. And I just am there. My goal is that everyone leaves feeling safe, sexy, and empowered. And especially if there's a very attractive man at the play party, I'm not going to hog the attention from other women if they want to play. Like, I just kind of view this as like, I'm creating the space, everyone play, you know? And I will step back and just like watch and and like enjoy them having a good time. You know, like I get joy out of seeing other people enjoy pleasure. So there was this man that, from when he walked in, I was like thinking, oh my God, he looks like a street fighter. Like, it's just like tall, has tattoos, very beautiful, just like beautiful body, beautiful smile, everything. He's German, which is funny to me. And I was so attracted to him that I like avoided him, which is a thing for me sometimes, because I don't know, sometimes I just go avoidant when I actually like someone. And so anyways, I just like step back in the open play, like when it goes into a house party. He was involved with some other people and having a good time, and then I just assumed that he was kind of quote unquote taken for the night, because he's, you know, was probably one of the best looking men there. And then I was handing out cake to people. I was feeding people cake, like towards like the middle of the night. And he was sitting in a swinging chair, like on the balcony overlooking the pool by himself. And I was just like, oh, do you want some cake? You know, just talking. And then we started talking. And then he was like, do you want to go and like sit on one of the day beds by the pool? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so we ended up like cuddling and talking, and then we ended up making out, and then like other things happened. And then after we played like sensually and like a little bit sexually, we ended up just like cuddling and talking for like an hour and a half. I swear I had a date with this man, while I was in the middle of the play party. And it was like towards the end of the play party. Most people had gone home. But it was just like funny because there was like many things happening around us. And like I have my women that host the play party with me that were hosting it while I was doing this. So like everyone was safe. Don't worry. Everyone was having a good time. And, but it was just like, we talked about our emotions. We talked about astrology. We talked about human design. We talked about his business, my business, like what we want in a life partner, what we want. Do we want children? And I was just like, what is happening? This is like probably the first time this has happened where I've connected with men at my play parties, but this was the first time where I felt like, oh, this is like, we're both kind of sussing each other out to see if this is like a romantic thing outside of this, like, I'm not going to say like full on life partners. I'm just saying like we were interested in each other romantically. And we were asking each other the kind of questions you ask each other on a first date. And so anyways, he had to go at some point because he was getting up to do his Muay Thai classes. And then he was going to a static dance for the first time, which I thought was really cute. And we just we like messaged a lot back and forth. And then like, this is the thing, guys. He's a Virgo. And I kind of made a promise to myself that I wouldn't date any more Virgos. And he's not like a little bit of a Virgo. He's like sun and moon in Virgo, but rising Sagittarius, which is nice because my Venus is in Sagittarius. Just going a little tangent of astrology. So if you understand, you get me. But he's also like Venus in Virgo, like midheaven in Virgo, like so many things in Virgo. And it's a lot. So anyways, I was like, I felt a strong attraction, so I was just like, I'm down to go on like another date and see what happened on a real date, I guess, like not in the play party. So anyways, he asked me out yesterday and came and picked me up, and we ended up going to the sauna last night. It's called the Dome. It's like a really beautiful sauna here on the island. Super trippy. They like put project like this whole like visual scape onto the trees, and like a lot of people go there and take mushrooms, and it's like you don't even need to be on psychedelics there. It's like so trippy. But anyways, we get there, and then like synchronistically, all of my best girlfriends are there with some of their partners. So there's like a group of like 7 of them. And I was like, I turned to him like, these are my best friends on the island. And he was like, oh, okay. So it was just funny because we kind of like all hung out together. And then my girlfriends were like asking that one of my girlfriends is German. So she was like asking him in German, like kind of like, what are you looking for in a partner? And like this and that. And I think he felt really put on the spot. But he handled it really well. And then him and I ended up going and like cuddling by the fire and like, just talking about a lot of stuff. And the thing is that the reason why I told myself that I wouldn't date another Virgo is because I've found that like as a woman, as a Scorpio woman, I'm like sun and moon are in Scorpio, I have a lot of deep emotions. And I was talking to a friend last night about it, and she was just like, you know what, Brittnee, like you're not too much, and you don't need to like be constantly pulling a man. Like say like, Scorpio, the sign is normally like associated with water, like watery emotions, right? And, I traditionally don't expect men to feel as many emotions as I feel, or to, I don't want them to feel my emotions. I don't want them to be reactive to my emotions. I just want them to create a safe space for me to feel my emotions and to be okay with them and not feel overwhelmed by them, right? And also I would love to hear their emotions, and I would love to host them on their emotions, like whatever they have or whatever is coming up for them. Because for me, this is like my superpower, like if a man is feeling something, I'm like, give it to me. I'm here for it. Let's talk about it, And a lot of men are traditionally programmed that if they share their feelings, especially with someone they're romantically interested in, they will be considered like weak, or it's a vulnerability that is, it's like almost not, how do I put it? It's like not safe. And for me, this is like what makes me feel connected to a man. So, and so anyways, my girlfriend was saying last night, she was like, you deserve to be with a man who can meet you there. Like he doesn't necessarily need to be like living in the watery depths that you live, but he can like dive in and like meet you there whenever you want him to, and you're not like constantly like pulling him in. Because I think what happens is when a man can't, it's almost like, can you swim or not swim? Because I'm like, hey, come out into the water with me, and they're like, I can't swim, I feel like I'm drowning. And then they feel really, basically this is them feeling really energetically or emotionally overwhelmed when I'm like, I have feelings, I want to talk to you about them. And And so if they don't have like the emotional intelligence and the emotional tools to be able to process their own emotions, there's no way they're going to be able to handle mine and just hold space for them. And really what it is like, just be able to like, so I actually talked to him about this last night, this guy. And I said to him, I was like, it makes me feel really loved when someone I care about asks me like, how are you feeling? Like, I feel that this makes me feel like I would rather a guy ask me, how are you feeling? And really hold space for me instead of give me all these compliments. Like, you're beautiful, you're smart. Like, I'd rather them like really hold space for my feelings. Like, honestly, I would actually like both, like I love affirmations. Those are great, but I don't necessarily need them. But my emotional reality, oh my gosh, it's there, it's present, it's not going away, So it would be really nice. Like, I think this is the thing that a lot of men don't realize is that like in today's world, we have this programming of really highly valuing intellectual intelligence, so IQ. But up until recently, we have not valued emotional intelligence. So most men do not have the tool. It's a toolkit, just like intellectual intelligence. Like you would go to school to learn things intellectually, but there hasn't been an official school to learn things emotionally. And so a lot of men do not have the tool set in order to process not only their emotions, but hold space for yours. But I personally, as a human, I can meet them there intellectually. I'm very intelligent, and I used to read a book a day growing up. So I know a lot of things about a lot of things, and I also I get so nerdy about like astrophysics and metaphysics, and I can really meet someone there in that like quantum realm, like the like really getting deep into like spiral dynamics and like all this stuff. Like this is stuff that I get really nerdy about. And so for a lot of men, especially Virgo men, they love this. Like they find this is almost kind of what turns them on. If a woman can like challenge them intellectually and stimulate them. And so especially my last partnership, my ex found this to be almost a sign of love and a sign of feeling of connection, that we could connect intellectually. But what I found to be sad was that he didn't value, my last partner didn't value, at least while we were dating, didn't value the needing to meet me emotionally, until I got very frustrated and was kind of like pushing him, I really want to be met emotionally. I really want to be met. And then he started to try and figure it out, but it wasn't ever in enough time where it would line up where it felt like I was being met. And that's on me for dating someone where my needs are just not getting met, And so like, as I enter into this potentially new situation, and again, we've had like 1.5 dates. So I'm not like, we're going to get married or whatever the fuck. I'm just saying that I take a lot of this stuff seriously, And so I'm really asking myself, because I feel like a lot of times the universe is testing us. I feel like the universe is like, okay, is this what you deserve? Here, let me give you this person. If this is good enough, then it's good enough. And we're just going to let you like ride the wave of this relationship. And for me, I am not going to loop. I do not want to date the same person over and over again. I choose to value myself more, because really like the people that are attracting into your life is a reflection of how much you love yourself. Or they're a test of how much you love yourself. Because if you accept someone into your life romantically and they're not meeting your needs and they're not like giving you the nourishment that you deserve, just through the natural connection of who they are, so it's not asking them to be anything else than what they are. But basically, if their energy is not amplifying you in a way where you're more excited about your life, because for me, then like, why are they in your life? Because for me, I really love my life. I feel very excited about my life every day. I'm very focused on what I'm building in the world. And so if a man comes into my life, I choose for him to add to that energy and support that energy. And, just like by him being in my life, I have more energy. Like I choose for it to be an amplification of what I already have, because otherwise why engage? I'm very grateful. And it's also because I know I have a deep knowingness and a belief that there is a man who will amplify energetically. I have experienced this in my life, and I know what it feels like. And so it's like I have this vibrational marker of what it should be. And it just happened to, that vibrational marker that happens, it just happened to be not the right timing of someone who ended up being my life partner. But the energy that they brought into my life was like, wow, it was so amplifying. It was so nourishing. And I'm still friends with this man to this day. Shout out to Josh. You guys met him in one of my podcasts. Josh is like, I love Josh. He's just out and about in the world becoming a famous musician. And I am so supportive of him for that. But he helped me to understand what it could be like in a partnership from an energetic and an emotional standpoint. That my emotions weren't too intense and I wasn't too much. It was just being human. And this is what I deserve to be met. So anyways, when I talked to this man about this last night, I was just, because I read out the pattern app. If you don't know, this is a great app. And he was just like, we were just looking at ourselves, our patterns individually. If you don't know what it is, it kind of like, it tells you who you are from an astrological perspective, but it's creepily accurate. Okay. Like, cause even he was like, yeah, but a lot of astrology is very general. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, read this and see if it applies to you. And he's like, oh fuck, this is hitting close to home. This is like very accurate. But what I love about it is you can run a bond between you and the other person, and it can show you your pattern of what potential friction there is between you and how you would actually align, like what basically the positive and opportunities for growth in your relationship or your connection to each other. So we were looking at that last night, and it brought up this thing about like, that he wants to connect intellectually and that I need to connect emotionally. Like his feeling of being loved and nourished comes through intellectual stimulation and connection, and mine comes through emotional stimulation and connection. So there is a misalignment here, or definitely we need to have a conversation. So that's what I was bringing up last night. And he was just like, yeah, it takes me a while to open up to someone. But then he asked me, like, basically, how can I meet you there? And that's when I brought up the thing about like, just ask me how I'm feeling. And that's a great first step, but I was feeling into it last night when I got home. I talked to my girlfriends about it who met him yesterday, and we all agree that he's an amazing person. And I'm also open to going on some more dates with him, so I'll report back. But I just really have a strong self-worth of like what I choose to be with, and I don't want to project. I don't want to date potential. I don't want to be the thing that cracks a man open emotionally. I just want them to be open. And again, they don't need to feel as much as I feel, but to be able to be open to feel whatever is coming up for them and not have it stuck in them. Because if it's stuck in them and they're not feeling their feelings, I can feel that energetically. And then I naturally want to go like, like, hello, let's open you up, because if you don't open up, then I'm going to feel and process for you. Because in my last relationship, I was literally processing his emotions for him, which is a real thing that can happen, just so you know. And that got really exhausting and frustrating. And obviously that was my choice to stay there, but I didn't necessarily understand what was happening at the time, And so I just choose that I am not going to be in a relationship again. I'll say in the positive, I'm only going to be in a relationship again where I feel that my emotional needs are being met and I feel like emotionally connected and nourished and stimulated. Along with intellectual, I choose to have both, and I really believe that a lot of men can meet me there, and they just need to go and do the work for themselves in order to build the tools and build the emotional intelligence. Like, go to school emotionally, learn the tools, learn the skills, come back, let's have a conversation. And that's what a lot of men do when they come to this island, because they go to tantra stuff. They go and take there's a really great men's embodiment retreat here. Like, they really go and learn the things they need to learn to connect to their bodies and their emotions. And it's beautiful. So yeah, TBD, to be determined what happens with this lovely Street Fighter man. Sometimes I wonder if these people are going to listen to my podcast. Like, sometimes I make these podcasts and I'm just speaking into the void, I don't know if anyone's ever going to listen. And then thousands of people listen to it and they come and talk to me about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, people are actually listening. And so I'm like, does that mean I should not share as much? But I just really, I choose that whoever is in my life, that they're going to be okay with me sharing about them. And if I feel like they're not going to be okay, I just won't mention their name. Like, as you notice, I didn't mention the name of this person. Because I haven't checked in with him yet, if it's okay. So, yeah, and yeah, I want to make a lot more podcasts. So tomorrow morning, I want to make another podcast because I didn't get to the point of why I was feeling so sick this last week. I was really ill this last week, and it has everything to do with my ex-boyfriend and the woman that cheated on me on the friend that he cheated on me with. And I saw her on the beach, and there was like just all this stuff that happened, and I just had to do a lot of therapy and like process it. And I came to a great conclusion. The story has a happy ending, but it was an emotional roller coaster to get there. And I want to just create space for that. But I'm taking after the beach. I'm meeting a friend I haven't seen in like 2 years, which I'm so excited to see him. And then another friend of mine is having me over to cook me dinner. I love all the men in my life. So, like I have a friend, Aaron, he's like my brother. And he's like, Brittnee, come over. I want to cook you dinner. And I'm like, yes. So I'm going to go do that. But I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to talk to you about this. So stay tuned. More episodes coming. I also have a really fun thing that's happening on Thursday where I'm basically getting paid to model for a women's self-pleasure toy. It's like, what is my life? Sometimes I don't realize that my life is like, for me, this is just normal life. But then I also sometimes look at myself and I'm like, what are you doing? like I basically said to the universe, I want to get off the island for a little bit. And then it was like, here is someone reaching out to you, a brand. It was like, that's so on brand with what I'm doing. It's like women empowering, women led. It's a self-pleasure wand for women, like a toy, a sex toy for women. How did I call it a sex toy? I guess it is. It's a pleasure tool. So anyways, I'm getting paid to go over to the next island and hang out in a villa with my girlfriends all day and get our hair and makeup done and take photos in our lingerie, just holding these like pleasure tools. And I'm just like, I love my life. It's great. Okay, I'm going to go. I hope you have a beautiful day. Just go out and like do something fun today. Believe in yourself. You got this. And I just want to say that like something I'll like leave you with is that like recently I have been asking more of life. I have been really leaning into life and asking like for instance, if I want something, instead of being like, oh, I hope this person like reads my mind, I just ask them like, can I have this thing, or can I do this thing, or this and that, and you would be surprised at how many more yeses you get than nos. I have a friend that said like he actually made this challenge with himself that he tried to get one no every day. So basically ask for things around you, like, can I have this thing? Can I have that? Until you get a no. And like the point is to get a no, but what ended up happening along the journey is you get a lot of yeses that you never would have gotten because you ended up putting yourself out there. And I'm just sharing the story with you to go out there and try and get a no by asking for more in life. So yeah, I'm sending you lots of love. I hope you have a beautiful day.